Every single day you wake up and the performance begins. At work, you're the competent, unshakable professional who has it all figured out. With your friends, you're the fun, easygoing one who never complains, always up for anything. On social media, you're living your best life, a curated feed of success and happiness. And with your family, you slip into whatever role they expect, the one they approve of. But then, in the quiet moments when you're finally alone, the weight of it all crashes down. You feel the truth. None of those versions are fully you. You're exhausted from the constant acting, and a deep, quiet terror lives inside you. The fear that if you ever stopped performing, if people saw who you really are, they would reject you. They would leave. So what is this mask you're wearing? The famous psychologist Carl Jung called it the persona. It's the social mask we all wear to navigate the world. Think of it as the conformity archetype, the polished, acceptable, likable version of yourself that you present to gain approval, avoid conflict, and just function in society. Now, having a persona isn't inherently bad. We all need to adapt to different social situations. The problem starts when you over-identify with the mask. When you've worn it for so long, you've forgotten it's not your real face. You start to believe the performance is you, and your authentic self, the real you, gets buried alive. Why did you build this mask in the first place? It was born from survival. As a child, you learned very quickly which parts of yourself earned rewards and which ones brought punishment or disapproval. Maybe your anger was labeled too much, so you learned to swallow it and smile. Maybe your sensitivity made others uncomfortable, so you learned to be tough and put up a wall. Your natural, wild exuberance might have annoyed the adults around you, so you learned to be quiet and compliant. Your creativity was dismissed as impractical, so you learned to be serious and productive. Piece by piece, you hid away your most authentic traits and built a persona designed to keep you safe, loved, and accepted. It wasn't really a choice, it was a survival strategy. And you don't just have one mask, do you? You have a whole collection. There's the professional mask. Competent, confident, never showing weakness or uncertainty. There's the social mask, fun, agreeable, always the giver, never needing anything from anyone. There's the family mask, where you play the role you were assigned, the responsible one, the peacemaker, the successful one, or even the troublemaker. Then there's the perfect mask, flawless, always in control, no visible cracks. And the strong mask, never vulnerable, always handling everything alone, a pillar of strength for everyone else. You're constantly switching between these identities depending on who you're with, and it can leave you feeling like you don't even know who the real you is anymore. Living like this, behind these masks, is absolutely exhausting. Every single interaction requires energy. You're constantly monitoring your words, controlling your reactions, hiding your true feelings, and trying to remember which version of yourself you're supposed to be in that moment. It feels like being an actor who can never, ever drop character, not even for a second. This exhaustion isn't just mental, it's physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual. You're burning out from the constant, crushing effort of being someone you're not. And the cruelest irony? Even when people praise or love the persona you present, it feels empty, because you know deep down, they don't actually know you. This performance creates a profound sense of disconnection, not just from other people, but from yourself. When you hide your authentic self, relationships become transactional performances instead of genuine, heartfelt connections. People love the mask, not the person wearing it. You can be surrounded by people in a crowded room and feel completely and utterly alone because nobody sees the real you. Even worse, after years of wearing the mask, you might not even know who the real you is anymore. The persona has become so convincing that you've lost touch with your own authentic desires, feelings, and identity. You're lonely even in your own skin. So what keeps you trapped? It's a single powerful fear. If they knew the real me, my fears, my flaws, my messiness, my needs, they would leave. This is the core fear that keeps that mask welded to your face. You've come to believe that your authentic self is fundamentally unlovable, unacceptable, or just too much for people to handle. So you keep performing, convinced that the mask is the only reason anyone stays. But this creates a devastating catch-22. The deep connection you desperately crave requires vulnerability and authenticity. but you're too terrified to show your real self for fear of losing that very connection. You're trapped in a prison of your own making. Let's talk about the true cost of wearing this mask. What you're really losing. You're losing authentic connection, because relationships based on a performance are hollow and can't nourish your true self. You're losing self-knowledge, because you've lost touch with your real desires, emotions, and identity. You're losing vitality and joy. Constantly performing drains your life force until you feel numb and empty. You're losing your ability to trust in relationships, because you can't truly trust love that's given to a mask. You are losing your creative expression, silencing your unique voice to maintain an acceptable image. And it takes a toll on your mental and physical health. The dissonance between your true self and your persona creates anxiety, depression, and existential dread. The chronic stress of performing can manifest as real illness, burnout, and fatigue. So let's be clear about the difference between the persona and the authentic self. Your authentic self is messy. It's contradictory, vulnerable, and beautifully imperfect. It has needs, fears, and desires that don't fit the acceptable story. It's the part of you that wants to cry, to rest, to say no, to express anger, to be seen and loved without having to earn it. The persona, on the other hand, is polished, controlled, predictable, and acceptable. It knows how to perform, adapt, and survive. Your authentic self wants connection. The persona wants safety. But here is the fundamental truth. You cannot have deep, meaningful connection without authenticity. Safety that's built on a performance isn't real safety. It's a cage. So how do you begin the journey of removing the mask? It's not about becoming reckless or suddenly oversharing with everyone. It's about gradually allowing your authentic self to emerge in safe spaces. Start small. First, identify one person you trust and share something real with them. A fear, a struggle, a hidden part of yourself. Next, start to notice where you're performing. Catch yourself switching into a different character and just ask who am I trying to be right now? What am I hiding? Then, practice micro-authenticity. When someone asks how you are, instead of the automatic, I'm fine, try saying, I'm having a tough day. Set one small, authentic boundary. Say no to something you'd normally agree to just to please someone. Express one true emotion, even if it's just to yourself at first. Let yourself cry, or acknowledge your anger, or admit you're scared. And finally, ask for help. Let someone see that you need something. Vulnerability is the antidote to the mask. When you first start dropping the mask, it is going to be terrifying. Your nervous system will scream, "Danger, they'll reject you. You're too much." And yes, some people might leave. Those who are only connected to your persona may not know how to relate to your authentic self. This will hurt. There's no denying that. But here is the incredible gift. The people who stay, the ones who see you without the mask and love you anyway, will give you something the persona could never ever provide: real belonging. Not "I love who you pretend to be," but "I love who you actually are." This is the soul-deep connection you have been starving for. The mask was never the problem. It was a solution. It kept you safe when you were small and felt powerless. But you're not that child anymore. You have agency now. The question is no longer about survival. It's about living. Will you continue performing for a conditional kind of love, or will you risk being real for true connection? The mask offers the illusion of safety, but it costs you your soul. Authenticity requires vulnerability, but the reward is finally being seen, known, and loved, not for who you pretend to be, but for who you actually are. The cage is unlocked. You just have to be brave enough to step out. Thanks for watching.